Good morning to everybody from Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, and good evening to everybody who is joining from Asia Pacific. My name is Richard Duffy. I am the SAP Business One product evangelist. I'm just taking a quick look through all of the people who have joined this session, and I can see a number of different names of people who I have met in person. So a special welcome to all of you who have joined this session. Thank you very much for coming along. So what are we going to focus on in today's session? Well, today's session, and by the way, this is the first of two sessions that we are running this week on this topic. Session 2 will be in another day's time, so it's Tuesday today, so session 2 will be on Thursday. But this is session 1, and we're going to be talking about building your SAP Business One demo environment. So what I'd like to do is just take you quickly through the agenda for today's session. And I can just see a couple of people are asking about the dial-in for the session, and there is a file that you can download in the SAP Connect system that does have all the dial-in numbers for this session. So please go ahead and download that file if you need those numbers. But the agenda for today's session is what we're going to talk about in the first instance is we're going to talk about why you need a demonstration environment. So we're going to set the foundation for what demonstrations are all about and make sure that we have really set that baseline understanding so everyone is aware of, the concepts that we're going to cover as we go through today's session. So hopefully, can I just ask a couple of other people, we're getting some messages that some people cannot hear the session. Can just a couple of other people just let me know if you can hear the audio, please, just before I keep going? Okay, so we're getting a lot of people saying they can hear, so I'm just going to keep going. So the second thing that we're going to cover in today's session, we're going to talk about the right demo environment. We're going to talk about what is the right demo environment. Should you be using a laptop? Should you be using a cloud system? And if you are going to use a cloud-based system, should you be using a private cloud or should you be using a public cloud? One quick point for everybody, you do need to dial in to the session. Okay, so it's not being pushed out via voice over IP. It is available if you dial into the session. The third component we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the step-by-step process for building your core demo environment. Then I'm going to talk about some of the key demonstration scenarios that you're going to need to cover. We're going to talk about SAP Business One, the key demonstration scenarios that you should be covering there. And then we're also going to talk about some of the other innovations that you really should be demonstrating as you go out and present SAP Business One to a potential customer. And not just a potential customer, but also some of your existing customers, because as we talk about this demonstration environment, you'll probably find that you have a number of people, a number of existing customers who before they make the decision to upgrade to the latest version of SAP Business One, maybe they're moving from the 2007 release to 8.8, or maybe they want to go to 8.81, there's a good chance they may want to take a look at what is actually in the 8.81 release or the 8.8 release. So you're also going to potentially need to demonstrate the solutions to them. And then, of course, with those existing customers, they may wish to purchase additional solutions from you, additional software solution partner solutions, what I like to call complementary solutions. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And when we start talking about the SSP solutions, I'm going to get a little bit controversial in the approach that I'm going to take there, but stay tuned for that one. So let's get going into the core of today's presentation, and let's talk about the foundation for the demonstration environment and why you need to have a demonstration environment. First thing I want to cover off is talking about why we do demonstrations. So fundamentally, when you are out and you are presenting your solution to your prospect, you need to understand what is going through their mind. Now, some of you may be familiar with these concepts if you've done our Demonstrating to Win or our Discovery to Win courses, because it's very much the focus area of those courses. But I thought it's worthwhile to touch on it as we go through the next two sessions on this topic. So fundamentally, your prospect is thinking probably one of three things. The first thing they're thinking about is they're thinking about the dynamics of change. So what is that? Fundamentally, your prospect, when they are looking at a new solution like SAP Business One, what's involved for them is change. And for many people and many organizations, change is a difficult thing to come to grips with. They feel uncomfortable with change. They're not 100% sure that they want change. Maybe that change in a system is being forced upon them. So they're already feeling very, very hesitant, very nervous, very tentative about this whole process of deploying a new solution. So in many cases, they're looking for a reason to maintain the status quo and do nothing. Even if you're sitting there and you might be thinking, well, they asked us to come out and do a demonstration. They asked us to come out and, present this solution to them. Why would they be thinking that they want to do nothing? Well, fundamentally, change is a difficult thing to manage. So you have to keep that in mind. And what that is going to mean to you as you are doing your demonstrations and building your demonstration systems is that you have to make your demonstrations as easy as possible for people to follow. You have to make them as seamless as possible, and you have to make them as smooth and as error-free as possible. So that's the first thing. Because as soon as you encounter any issues during the demonstration process, as soon as something goes wrong in the demonstration process, that dynamic of change is going to start your prospect thinking about all the reasons why they shouldn't be making that change and making that move. So you want to make sure it's very, very smooth. Your prospect is also thinking that this is probably not the first time that they have gone through the process of selecting a new business management system. So they've got experience in going through this demonstration process before. What does that mean? That means they might have preset expectations around what's going to happen during the demonstration. They might be sitting there in the demonstration process ready to pounce on you if you make a mistake, or ready to have a negative reaction if something doesn't go right in the demonstration process. So you need to think about that. And in the demo to win process, that's what we call a prospect. We give it a particular name, and that's a lay in the weeds, like a fish that sits there in the weeds waiting for something to happen so they can leap out and grab you and, take your demonstration process down a direction you don't want it to go, or make it run off the rails. The third thing that your prospect is thinking about is they are thinking about how well you understand their business. And in the demo to win process, we call this ethos, pathos, and logos. We call it trust, if you like, understanding or empathy, and then logos is logic or reasoning. So what you have to be doing when you're demonstrating is you have to be building trust, you have to be building understanding, and you have to be providing good, solid, business-based reasons for making the change to your solution. So fundamentally, if you think about it, the purpose of a demonstration is that your prospect is on one side of a canyon with their current system, their current solution. To get to the other side of the canyon, which is to implement your solution, you need to build a bridge. And that's the purpose of the demonstration, to build that bridge. And by building trust, you can then lead your prospect across that bridge to help them get over that fear of change. The third thing that you need to contemplate when you are thinking about your demonstrations and your demonstration environment is what I like to call answering before it's asked. What do I mean by this? Well, one of the things which is really, really critical in any demonstration, in any customized and tailored demonstration, is doing a discovery process and understanding what it is that the prospect wants to see and understanding what it is that the prospect needs to have confirmed in their mind in order for them to reach the decision that your solution is the right one. So discovery is really critical. The second point, one of the things that comes up in demonstrations is, I think it's fair to say these days, there are very few situations where you are in a situation where you don't have a competitor. So you will 9 times out of 10, you will have competitors who will also be demonstrating their solutions. And many of those competitors will leave what we call trap statements. So, for example, a great trap statement that I know many people come across is, SAP Business One does not run over the internet. So with the right demonstration environment that is configured the right way, you can address those trap statements that you know your competitors are leaving in the mind of the prospect without even having to specifically call it out. So, for example, if you do get that issue about Business One does not run over the internet, then why not make sure when you're doing your demonstrations that your entire demonstration environment is built in the cloud. And that's one of the things that I'm going to propose to you and provide step-by-step guidance as to how to access or how to build your demonstration environment in the cloud. So what do? You go to the prospect's site with nothing except yourself, and you go and you do the entire demonstration from one of their computers. Now, obviously, a couple of things you need to do before you want to go out and do that. Obviously, you need to make sure they're going to have an internet connection and they're going to have the right kind of computer to do that on. But if you set up your demonstration environment the right way, they'll be able to access it whether they're running Windows 7, Windows Vista, if they're running Linux, if they're running the Macintosh OS 10. You can basically walk up to any PC anywhere in the world and access your demonstration system. So that's one of the things that's going to be really, really critical here. The third point, when you're building your demonstration environment, really what I would encourage you to do is constantly be learning, adapting to what you've learned, and then applying the things that you've learned. Now, having the correct demonstration environment is going to help you do that. So I'm going to explain exactly how we're going to do all of those things as we go forward through today's session and Thursday's session. So point number one, do you have the right demonstration environment, or are you set up to fail before you even start? So there are really 3 different kinds of scenarios that I believe you should consider when you're building your demonstration environment. Now, traditionally with SAP Business One, one of the advantages of the solution is that you can have a full SAP Business One demonstration environment deployed on your laptop. But by the same token, that works against you in some ways. What do I mean by that? Many people who do Business One demonstrations are not only dedicated pre-sales people, but they're also consultants, or they might be developers, or they might be, utilizing different sets of data on their laptop for different reasons. So what happens? Maybe this has happened to you. You've gone out to visit a prospect and they've said to you, well, gee, I'd really like to see this particular functionality. I'd really like to see fixed assets, or, one of the things that's really important to us is the integration between Microsoft Outlook and SAP Business One CRM. And what do? You swallow hard and you say, well, gee, I'm sorry, I don't have that installed on this machine. Or maybe you're a consultant and you're in the middle of doing some work for another prospect who is on or for another customer who's on 2007. So you don't have version 8.8 installed on your laptop. So you go out and you figure, doesn't matter, I'll just do the demonstration on SAP Business One 2007. But one of your competitors is demonstrating on version 8.8. What happens? You're automatically now having to try and catch up. Why? Because you didn't have the right demonstration environment set up on your machine. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can get around that. Obviously, if you're working with a laptop, then you can start utilizing virtual machines on your laptops. But again, from my experience and from talking with many people who are involved in demonstrating SAP Business One, the thing that I have seen over and over and over again, even when I've gone out and run training and asked people to bring in their laptops, many people have laptops that are incredibly underspecified for running not just Business One, but if they wanted to run virtual machines and have multiple virtual environments running on that laptop, they don't have the capability to do that. Give you an example. Really, in order to run a virtual machine environment on your laptop, you should have a laptop that is a Core 2 Duo at the bare minimum, and you should have a laptop which has, at the bare minimum, 8 gigabytes of RAM, or if possible, 16. Now, I don't know if there's many of you running around with laptops with that kind of specification. So what does that mean? It means the process of being able to have a number of different virtual machine images and being able to take those out with you can be a little bit hard to manage. That then leads us to the next option, which is building your own private cloud-based demo environment or using a public cloud-based demo environment. Now, one of the advantages of using a laptop versus, say, accessing your demo environment over the internet is, what if you get out there and you don't have an internet connection, or something has gone wrong, as just happened just earlier today, where the Amazon cloud service, or one of the Amazon cloud services, went down because they had a major power outage in their data center in Ireland. Well, if that happens and you're relying on a cloud-based system, then you're going to have a problem. So, to my way of thinking, the only reason to have a demonstration environment on your laptop is as a backup in case a cloud-based system goes down. Okay? So what am I saying to you? I am proposing that you should, wherever possible, move to a cloud-based demonstration environment. So what are those two cloud-based demonstration environments you can have? Well, the first one is your own private cloud-based demo environment. So what are we talking about here? This is the scenario where you have your own server installed in your office, and all you need is an internet connection, and you need to make sure that the internet connection from your office is up as well. I've got to tell you, this is what I use to run all of my demonstrations at the moment. In my home office in Sydney, Australia, I actually have my own private cloud environment. And that private cloud environment is built utilizing virtualization. What does this give me? This gives me the ability to have multiple demonstration systems available and to be able to switch between them as I need to. Maybe I need to do an 8.8 demo. Maybe I need to do an 8.81 demo. Maybe I need to demonstrate Crystal Report Server. Or maybe I need to go back and do some work helping somebody with an issue they've got with SAP Business One 2007 or something like that. By having this environment set up, it makes it incredibly easy for me to do that. In the last 2 years that I've been running in this fashion, I think out of all the demonstrations I've had and all the times when I've needed to access that demo environment, I think I've only ever had one scenario where I could not access that system. Why? Because for me it's critical to have access to that system, so I make sure I have redundancy. What do I mean? I have 2 internet connections coming into my home office, and I have those set up so that if one goes down, the other one automatically kicks in. Now, people often say to me when I have this discussion with them, they go, well, wow, that's really expensive. And my point that I would like to make to you is that these days, it's not expensive. And again, I'm going to be contentious a couple of times here during this call. Here comes number 1. Your business is all about selling software. You need to make sure you have the right infrastructure in place in order to sell the software. What we're talking about here is probably, well actually it's definitely in Australia, no more than about $7,000 investment to build your own private cloud-based demo environment. $7,000. Now, to my way of thinking, that's not expensive. If you are selling 4, 5, 6 or more systems per year, and hopefully you are, hopefully you're selling 12, 13 or more systems every year, that is not a huge investment to make. Okay? So, I don't believe that that is overly expensive. And I put my money where my mouth is. I funded myself all of my own demo environment. So my question to you is, if I can do it and I don't make a living from selling and implementing SAP Business One, then I would challenge you. If somebody in your organization says it's too expensive to set up the right infrastructure, I would ask you to challenge them on that and give me a call and let's have a conversation about that, because I guarantee you by the end of the discussion, I'm pretty sure that we can take care of any concerns and I can show how you will get a significant return on investment that more than justifies going down that path. So, let's say you've decided that you don't want to have your own private cloud-based demo environment, but you would still like to have access to a demonstration environment in the cloud. Well, the good news is it's getting easier and easier to do that. So, for example, a couple of things that I have worked with from personal experience. The most recent one that I have set up is we have configured a demonstration system which we are currently trialing internally at SAP, where we have put the SAP Business One starter package on a demonstration server, which is being run using the InstaCompute infrastructure as a service platform from Tata Computing. Now, some of you may be familiar with Tata. They are an Indian organization. They have many different aspects to their business. We're working with their communications team, and we're utilizing their service. Now, for me to set up that demo environment in that infrastructure as a service system took me around about 4 to 5 hours to get it all done. And the great thing about that is that I only pay for the storage that I use, I only pay for the bandwidth that I consume, and I only pay for the Windows Server licenses that I use. So that makes it incredibly quick and easy to bring up a cloud-based server for you to do your demonstrations on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we progress through. The second one that I've had some experience with, and I know a number of SAP Business One partners are using, is Amazon's, what they call their Elastic Computing, or EC3 service, where they provide you access through remote desktop services, same way as you access the Tata InstaCompute infrastructure as a service environment, and they give you access to your servers, which are then sitting in their data centers. And again, the same thing occurs there. You don't have to hand over a large chunk of money up front to buy servers, to buy licenses. You pay as you go. So I would encourage you, if that idea sounds appealing, check out those two systems. And again, if you're not sure how to start or where to go, all you need to do is drop me a note saying you would like some more information, and I'll send you out an info sheet on those public cloud options. One of the other things that we're about to do is we're about to make available in a test or a pilot mode access for a limited number of partners to access that Tata infrastructure that has been set up. So again, if you are interested in having access to that on a trial basis to see how it works and see if it works for you, please, again, drop me an email to richard.duffy@sap.com and let me know that you are interested in that, and I'll come back to you when we're ready to start rolling that out, which should be sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? So, 3 choices. You have your own laptop, you have your own private cloud-based demo environment, or you use a public cloud. Only you will know which one of those solutions is the right one. But regardless of which of those 3 solutions you use, you need to have a standard environment. So what is that standard environment? What is that core demonstration environment that you need to have? Well, fundamentally, you need to have a basic infrastructure in place. With today's software that you need to demonstrate and the components that you need to demonstrate, you really need to be running your demo infrastructure on Windows Server. So if you're running around with a Windows 7 laptop, or you're running around still with a Windows XP-based laptop, you are way, way behind the 8 ball. Why? Because so many things that you need to demonstrate, and we're going to talk about these, require a server-based environment, a server-based infrastructure to demonstrate effectively. What you need, ideally, is Windows Small Business Server 2008 or Windows Small Business Server 2011. You also need Windows Server 2008 R2. Why do you need both of those? Small Business Server because it provides you with the base infrastructure for running email, for running file and print services, for creating a domain environment, which if you want to demonstrate SAP Business One effectively, you need that. It also includes SharePoint services. And I believe that in order to do an effective SAP Business One demonstration, you need to be demonstrating SharePoint as part of your demo. Why? Well, if you are competing with Microsoft, if you are competing against the Dynamics solution, whether it's AX, NAV, GP, or you're competing with Dynamics CRM, or maybe you're even competing with some of the other solutions out there in the market, like Epicor, they are now going out and they are using SharePoint as the central tie-in for all of their demonstrations and all of their functionality. When a Microsoft partner goes out and demonstrates, they place in the mind of the prospect the importance of SharePoint. And you need to, again, this is an example of a trap statement, you need to be able to address that trap statement. How do you do that? You do that by utilizing SharePoint. We're going to get into the specifics of how to do that. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, hang on, are you going to show me how to do all these demonstrations? The short answer is yes. Is it going to be in today's session or Thursday's session? No, because to be honest, we don't have the time. But I'm going to point you to all the resources where you can access that training information that shows you how to do all of that. So don't worry, we are going to make sure that you have access to all the information you need to be able to do that. The third thing you need to have is you need to have the remote desktop services components. Now, that's why you need Windows Server 2008 R2. Why do you need remote desktop services? Well, fundamentally, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to show SAP Business One running over the internet. And in order to do that, you need remote desktop services. Even if you turn up at a prospect and you have a 16 gig laptop with, I've got one here with me, an Apple MacBook Pro with 16 gig of RAM, with a 2 terabyte hard drive attached to it and everything I need. I can switch that on, plug it into a wireless access point, and give the prospect the ability for them to connect with their own laptop into my demonstration system. But I've got to have that remote desktop services functionality available. So you need to have that there so you can show them how that works. And the fourth thing you need that server-based infrastructure for is so that you can effectively demonstrate in real time the mobility components of SAP Business One. If our job as demonstration people is to make sure that we show SAP Business One running as effectively as possible, you need to be demonstrating all these components, but more about that in a second. So you've got that basic infrastructure. So how do you license it? Well, the great thing about being a partner is that there are many things that you have at your disposal. And again, I talk about all of these in the resources that I'm going to point you to. The first thing that you need to be aware of, if you are going to build your own demo environment, whether you carry it around on a high-spec laptop or you build your own private cloud, then you need to have a virtualization platform. The virtualization platform that I chose is Microsoft Hyper-V 2008 R2. Why? Because it's free. And to my way of thinking, you can't argue with free. I can take a bare bones server with 16 gig of RAM, a RAID controller, 2 quad-core CPUs, and you could get a white box, a clone-based server with that kind of specification for about $2,500 these days. You can take that and you can download Hyper-V for free from Microsoft, set it up on that server, and you now have a virtual environment ready to go to host all of your demo components. The second thing, For the small business server, the Windows Server licenses, the remote desktop services licenses, even Windows XP licenses, Windows 7 licenses, if you choose to set up a virtual Windows 7 machine as well and do your entire infrastructure virtually. And Microsoft Office 2010, you can get all of those licenses for you to use as a partner for demonstration purposes by subscribing to Microsoft's Action Pack licensing program. You can sign up as a Microsoft partner without actually taking on any of the Microsoft products. Microsoft want you to sign up as a partner and just become a registered partner. That then gives you access to the Action Pack. For example, for me to sign up for an Action Pack in Australia is around about $300 Australian. And that provides me with all of the licenses that I need to build my core demonstration environment. So it's incredibly cost effective to do this. All you need to do is go out and sign up. So again, I would encourage you, if you're sitting there thinking, how am I going to make all this happen? That's one of the steps that you need to go through. All you need to be able to do is prove that you are a reseller selling product in the IT space, and you can sign up as a Microsoft registered partner and have access to the Action Pack and get all the necessary licenses you need. Now, one of the other choices, if you want to set up a really flexible demonstration environment, a flexible demonstration cloud, the other thing you may want to contemplate is signing up for a Microsoft Developer Network license. That then gives you the ability to set up a server and have up to 200 anonymous connections coming into that server via remote desktop services to access your software in a demonstration environment. What does that mean? If you decide that you would like to make a demonstration environment available to your prospects for them to come on and test drive the solution by subscribing to MSDN, you can do that for up to 200 anonymous connections. So again, going back to my previous slide where I made the comment, is this expensive? No, it's not. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you want to show your software in the best light, you need to have the right infrastructure. Think about it. If you are selling cars, let's say you want to sell somebody a car. Do you take them out in a second-hand car and demonstrate that? Get them to take that. If you're trying to sell them a new car, do you put them into a second-hand car that hasn't been tuned up, that hasn't been cleaned, that hasn't been polished, and say, well, look, take this one for a drive, see how you like it, and then you'll buy a new one. No, you wouldn't do that. What do you put them in? You put them in the shiniest, most optioned up model of that particular car, and you let them take that for a test drive. Demonstrating software is no different. You need to show your software running in the best possible environment with the best possible response, with the best possible performance. So that's why having this core demonstration environment is so critical. From a management and maintenance perspective, if you're building your core demonstration environment as well, one key point, whichever way you do it, you need to make sure that you have a backup and restore system that is based on images. What do I mean by that? You need to, when you've created your demo environment, you need to be able to burn an image of that environment so you can quickly and easily bring that back up. And there are a number of different solutions that allow you to do that. This is why I love virtualization so much. You can build a core demo environment and then duplicate that. And then each time you need to build a new demo environment, you just call up that core or that baseline, if you like, and duplicate that baseline. And then when you've got it exactly right, you save a copy of that image. you go out, you do your demonstrations, you play with it, you tear it to pieces, you customize the data, you do all of those things. Then when you're finished, you can save, you can archive that image away, and then you can just go straight back to a baseline image. Incredibly quick, incredibly easy, and think about the amount of time that will save you as you prepare for not only your demonstrations, but other things you need to do inside your organization as well. Your support, your testing, all of those things. Incredibly valuable to take that approach. So, how do you actually go about this process of building your demonstration environment? Well, what I have done is I have built a step-by-step guide for you that walks you through this process, and you can find that today on YouTube. Many of you may be familiar with my YouTube channel, but if you are not, I'm just going to pop it into the chat, and all you need to do is go to www.youtube.com/DuffyRichard. Okay? On that YouTube channel, you will find have I reached 100 yet? No, I think I'm up to about 90. You will find around about 90 different videos covering a whole range of different topics. Now, I've grouped those videos into playlists. And one of the playlists you'll see here is entitled Building Your SAP Business One Demonstration Infrastructure. Now, if you're having a little bit of difficulty seeing this particular screen, don't forget you can click on the little toggle button on your screen that says full screen, and that will take the slides up into full screen mode. What you'll see in this series of demonstrations is every single step in the process of building your own private cloud-based server. Now, you might choose not to build a cloud-based system. You might choose that you want to use your own laptop and put in all of the components that you need. Well, guess what? There's videos in this particular playlist that cover all of that. So, for example, if you decide you don't want to go down the path of building your own cloud-based server, if you don't want to use virtualization, you can start the process from video number 4. Okay, step 4. Well, actually, it's video number 5, which is step 4, and that's building your virtual server baseline. Because what do we talk about there? We talk about the process of actually installing all of those core components, the underlying Windows Server environment. Then I take you through building your small business server 2008 environment, configuring that, setting up terminal services, installing SAP Business One on terminal services, configuring it all step by step right throughout that entire process. And you can see already, if you're looking at that in full screen, many of those sessions have already had more than 1,500 views of each of those videos. So I would encourage you, go out and take a look at that, and that will walk you through the process step by step, even if you've got consultants in your organization who want to learn how to deploy SAP Business One in a virtual environment. They can even use those videos for that purpose. Not quite what I built them for, but the content and the concept is the same. The steps are the same. So again, I would encourage you to go and take a look at that. So what are the key demo scenarios that you need? Well, my point here is if you are selling it, you need to know how to show it. So we've got a number of core SAP Business One demonstration scenarios. Now, I do apologize that I've left a couple of links in this slide that I didn't mean to link in there. I reused the template, so ignore those 2 sub-points. So what are your core SAP Business One demonstration scenarios? Well, there's 10 core scenarios that you need to be familiar with and you need to learn. There's also some supplementary demonstration scenarios where we talk about BI on Demand and Crystal Report Server, but I'm going to talk more about those in session 2. So what are those demo scenarios and how do you get to learn how to demonstrate SAP Business One effectively? Well, there are 2 areas that I have created for you that show you and give you examples of how to demonstrate SAP Business One step by step. And both of these are currently on my website at richardduffy.com. We are going through a process of getting them moved across onto the SAP websites, but that takes a little bit longer. So right now, if you want to learn how to demonstrate SAP Business One, and many people learn by seeing a process modeled, and this is part of the reason why these demonstrations were built. They're actually built for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you have a prospect who wants to see a demonstration, you can use these. And number 2, if you want to learn how to demonstrate the software, I built them for that purpose as well. So you can basically go to www.richardduffy.com and you can find both of these demo platforms available. So what do we have? What I'm going to do just quickly is show you both of those. So I'm just going to quickly share my desktop. And let's go in here. So hopefully now everyone can see my screen, just waiting for that to come up. Okay, so if you go to www.richardduffy.com, if you haven't visited this site, this is a site that I have set up to basically share information with you as SAP partners, with prospective SAP customers, and with existing SAP Business One users to share information with them about SAP Business One. Let me just zoom that down just a little bit so you can see that. And you can see there's my happy smiling face. So if you want to get a complete demonstration of SAP Business One, all you need to do is go up here onto the SAP Business One link, click here on a complete demonstration of SAP Business One, and it brings you into this particular page, and you'll see on this page there are all of the different demonstration scenarios available. Okay, from sales process management to purchasing, service management, inventory management, MRP, as well as a complete overview of SAP Business One. By clicking on any one of these demos, it then pops up a little screen, and that'll just take a couple of seconds for it to come up on the SAP Connect. Well, hopefully it'll take a couple of seconds to pop up on the SAP Connect. There we go. And what you will see is a combination of live video and software demonstration. So again, you'll see live video of me actually doing an introduction into the software, doing the demonstration of the software on the screen, and then doing a closing remark. So, for example, you probably can hear that in the background there, so I'm just going to switch that off. Now, that's probably a little bit jerky when you're looking at it on your screen, again, because it's not designed to be run through SAP Connect through the Adobe Connect platform, but that gives you full motion video and a full demonstration of the particular component of SAP Business One that I'm referring to. Now, the second one that you can look at is if you go across here to the area marked blog, and this is where I communicate a lot of updated information about SAP Business One. I write a regular blog, and you will see that there is a link here entitled Want to Learn about SAP Business One? Start here. So all you do is click on that blog. It will bring you up into that blog page. And what you'll find embedded on that blog page, we'll just give it a couple of seconds for the SAP Connect just to catch up. You'll see there is an overview of exactly what's covered in the blog. And then if you scroll down, what you'll see is every single component of the Business One functionality covered off in a video that's actually up on my YouTube channel as well. But what I've done to make it easy is I've embedded them into this blog for you, so you can go through and view each one of these different demonstrations. So for example, if you'd like to see a demonstration of reporting in SAP Business One, you simply scroll down and then click on the play button, and it will start playing that demonstration inside the window. And of course, the best way to view these is in high definition. So choose 720p and then just expand it out. Okay? And what you will get is you will get a walkthrough of the functionality and you will see how to demonstrate that functionality. Okay? So that's the second option. So you can, not only can you find it from that blog post, but you can also go to that YouTube channel that I mentioned to you before, which is the YouTube channel that I have set up. And you will see a playlist. Remember, the how to install your demonstration environment is one playlist. You'll see another playlist there, which is the SAP Business One 8.8 demonstrations. So you can also go directly to YouTube and you can watch each one of those demonstrations there. So you'll see across here on the right-hand side, I have the SAP Business One 8.8 demonstrations playlist. So you can simply click on that and it will drop you into that playlist that gives you the ability to watch each one of those demonstrations from here inside SAP, inside the YouTube environment. And you can see the number of views that we've had on all of those different demonstrations. Some of them have had 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 demonstration views. Okay, so that is there, and it gives you the ability to see the software being demonstrated and to learn the demonstration process. Certainly the demonstration process which I use, which I've had quite a lot of good feedback from people about. So let's dive back into the presentation now. Just bear with me for 1 second. And I'm just going to share my document out again. Okay, so that's those step-by-step demo scenarios. If you've got your demonstration environment set up and you want to learn how to demonstrate SAP Business One. Let me talk just for a second about demonstrating what I call complementary solutions, or this is what we call it. This is what we call add-ons at SAP Business One. I mean, you know, when you're thinking about the solutions that are built by our software solution partners, we call them add-ons. I like to call them complementary solutions because that's really what they are. An add-on, there's just a connotation to that word that I don't like in a sales environment, because add-ons have a tendency to fall off. So one of the things that I've seen happen time and time again is that different people or partners will demonstrate an SSP solution by asking the SSP to come and do that demonstration over the phone, maybe via a web-based demonstration or whatever the case may be, where the partner sits in the office with the prospective customer and they have the SSP sitting on the other end of the phone, on the other end of a WebEx, demonstrating the software. You notice I've put this question there. You're getting who to demonstrate it, and that's really based on the feedback that I've had from many different prospects who've been exposed to this approach. You're the partner, and you're the partner who's going to sell them the software, you're the partner who's going to install the software, and yet you are asking the SSP to come and do the demonstration for you. Put yourself in the shoes of your prospect. They are probably sitting there thinking, if you're going to install it, why can't you demonstrate it? So, if you are selling complementary solutions, if you are selling add-ons, you need to be able to build that capability, that capacity to demonstrate those add-ons. As soon as you go in and you get the SSP connected on the other end of the phone to do a demonstration of that functionality, you are immediately going backwards. Okay? Again, a contentious statement, but I think one worth pointing out, and that's based on feedback from various folks. One more thing I want to cover, and I know we are running a little bit late because we did start a little bit late, but I think it's important. The best demo that you can do, what do you think that might be? Well, in my view, the best demo is the one that you don't have to do. Now, how does that then map back into what I just said about demonstrating and having the SSP connect in and do the demonstration for you? Well, there are many different things that you demonstrate over and over and over again. Here's my suggestion. Those components of your demos, you should be putting those up and making those available to your prospects via video. Why? Then your face-to-face demonstrations can be focused on the specific things that your prospect wants to see. The things that you demonstrate over and over and over again, put them up on video. Your prospect can watch what they want, when they want. And we've seen that this works. Now, the good news is that entire demonstration scenario that I took you through is also available for you to deploy on your website. You can sign up and get all of those demonstrations, put them on your website, direct your prospects to your website. They can watch those demonstrations. Yes, it's me that's doing it, but they can watch those demonstrations of all that core functionality. Then all you need to do is go out and do the customized demonstration. And we've seen that that works. So let's talk briefly now that we've come to the end of session 1. What are we going to talk about in session 2? Well, we've really focused on the fundamentals today. So what we're going to talk about in session 2 is how to position SAP Business One. We're going to talk about the importance of storytelling, and I'm going to take you through an example of a presentation that I like to use when I am presenting SAP Business One. We're going to talk about the importance of demonstrating the innovations and the sizzle, if you like. And it's a politically incorrect way of describing it, but selling the sexy things about SAP Business One and making sure you incorporate those into every demo. I'm going to also talk to you about how to position BI On Demand and Crystal Report Server. Why? Because there is more to Business One, to a Business One-based solution than just core Business One functionality. And what we're hearing time and time again from prospects is that's what they want to see. The C-level executives, they want to see dashboards, they want to see the cockpit, they want to see BI On Demand, and if you're not showing those things, you are doing yourself a huge disservice and reducing your chances of winning a deal. So I'm going to talk to you about that. And then I'm going to take you through and explain to you some of those key demo scenarios for your innovations. So, with that, I would like to thank you for joining today's presentation. We are going to open up for Q&A. For those of you who have stayed online, and thank you for that, we're going to open up for Q&A. We would like you to provide some feedback. You'll see in the chat window there is a link there to click on for the feedback survey. Give us some feedback about today's presentation, but I am going to throw across to Bridget. She's going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But again, today's presentation was not about walking you through how to do the setup, walking you through how to do a demo. All of those resources are available for you on the web. And I am here if you would like some personalized one-on-one coaching, if you would like some assistance, if you want to talk to somebody about your demonstration processes, I am at your disposal to help you do that, okay? But all of those things are there. Hopefully you've found today to be worthwhile. It's given you a good understanding of the basics of what you need to have in place. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday for session 2. And with that, I'd like to throw across to Bridget to open up the session for Q&A.